This week, we interview Hiram and Solomon Cigars. We have Fouad Kashouty and George Dakrat via Skype. And we have in studio Chris Clark, who is the brand ambassador for Hiram and Solomon. This is episode 267 of Stogie Geeks.
This is a Security Weekly production. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show where cigars burn slow, ashes fall fast, and cocktails flow steady. It's the Stogie Geek Show. Welcome, everyone, to the Stogie Geek Show. Joe and I are already silly.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Hozempa, a.k.a. Joe Hollywood, is here with me in studio.
I'm fired up.
Havana Cigar Club, located in Warwick, Rhode Island, is a great place to enjoy a drink and a cigar. Stogie Geeks listeners can find a $5 off coupon on our website by clicking the HCC logo.
Welcome to episode 267 of Stogie Geeks. I am your host, Joe Hozempa. Fast-moving episode today. We have live in studio Chris Clark, who is the brand ambassador for Hiram and Solomon Cigars. You want to stay tuned to our second segment when I do the Sticks of the Week, and we're going to talk about what we've been smoking. Thank you for joining us, Chris. You made the voyage all the way here.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's a long ride down from Maine.
Yes.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
No problem. It was a beautiful ride, beautiful day. It only got warmer as I went south. So.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. We also have via Skype, we have the CEO and founder and also the partner. We have Fouad Kashouty and George Dakrat. How are you, gentlemen?
Greetings. We're doing great. How are you guys doing?
We're doing very well. So now you know your sales, your brand ambassador, your guy on the road is working. So he reported for duty, right? while you're back home, taking care of the business. Tell us a little bit about Hiram and Solomon. Here in the Northeast, it does get a lot of brand recognition. It's a fascinating story. How you guys met. Take us through that and take us through all about Hiram and Solomon Cigars.
Oh, I'll take the George side. I mean, first, Joe, I noticed when you mentioned the Chris name, you didn't look to your left side. When you mentioned our names, you had to look twice to read the names.
Yes. Yeah, Well, I think I got it now. I'm not going to look, right? I'm not going to look. So here's a test. We have Fouad Kashouty and George Dakrat.
Perfect.
All right. See? I knew I'd get it. Right?
I work for him, and you're doing better than me. So,
so take us through Hiram and Solomon. I mean, interesting brand recognition, high ratings so far from your cigars. So yes. Take us all through that journey of yours.
Well, it started about 7-8 years ago, and after the lodge meeting, we were sitting downstairs and discussing lodge stuff, having drinks, smoking cigars. We were wondering why we never have Masonic cigars, and we started about 10-15 guys, and we ended up, George and I, and after a few years of talking about it, knocking many doors from major brands to smaller companies, that no one wanted to believe in us, and no one wanted to roll some cigar for us with some Masonic degrees, with some Masonic emblem on it. And after many years, George finally said, "Nobody wants to do it with us. Let's roll in. I'm in. If you're in, let's do it." We got the support. I would not say we got the approval of Grand Lodges, because nobody owns the right for the square and compass, the logo that we have on our cigars.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody has the rights to it. Same like the cross, nobody has the right for the cross. But it was good to get their support behind us. And the original thought about it was to raise some money for some charities, whether it's scholarship or Shriner Hospital or any Masonic or non-Masonic charity events. And finally, we end up doing some of the stuff, and the thought was, and the concern of the Grand Lodge is to have some good cigars, not just black and mild, if I want to call it, the type cigars, carrying our emblem that we respect a lot. And after experimenting with many blends, we end up coming up with some blends that we really liked and they liked it. And we launched it, our original line, the blue, what we call it, the blue line, going with the blue lodges, Masonic blue lodges. Instead of going with the light, medium, and light, we went with the Enter Apprentice, the Fellow Craft, and the Master Mason, which was originally, which are right now the degrees of the Masons. In order to become a fully fledged Mason, you have to go to the Enter Apprentice, the Fellow Craft, the Master Mason, and that's what we did. Our Enter Apprentice, which was our mild with the kick cigar, our Fellow Craft is our medium cigar, and the full body is the Master Mason.
Mm-hmm.
When we first launched, we started with a few thousand cigars, which we launched it on the website to sell directly to Masons around the world, actually, and we got very big success in a very short time period, having hits from different places, from Europe to Australia to even the Congo in Africa, the Middle East, and everywhere. And a few months down the road after that, we started getting phone calls from cigar lounges, which we were never prepared for that. We did not know the process, how the things goes with cigar lounges, because as I said, originally it was just to be on the website, sell a few cigars, give money to charity. We both own other businesses. It was never our full-time job. It was just a hobby to start with. Here we are, our third anniversary. We celebrate our third anniversary as of January 5th this year.
Mm-hmm.
And are in our fourth year now, fully committed. Not even a full-time job. It's a double full-time job. Technically, that's what we do. That's what we live. That's what we breathe right now. And we grew faster than we expected. It's a good problem to have. We were rated #2 boutique cigar in the world right now by Cigar and Spirit magazine. Our cigars are highly rated. Some of the cigars that we added, we went from our original blue line to we added three other lines, which is the Shriner cigar to support the Shriner hospitals, and then we added the Traveling Man, which is another definition of a Mason. So a Mason is either a traveling man or a Mason. It's two names for the same purpose, serve the same purpose. And then we added another cigar after that, which called it the Veil Prophet, which is another group of the Mason called the Grotto Group. And so far we have six different lines. Each has 4 different sizes. And hopefully with this IPCPR, we'll be ready to launch 1 or 2 more cigars to add to our collection of the cigars. George, to add anything? No, that's good. Huh?
So you both, Fouad and George, you are actively involved with your Mason Lodge still, correct?
Correct.
Yep.
Yes.
And obviously your both of you are respected Masons, so you do a lot of community work, obviously, being Masons, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
We do. I mean, as Masons, as a whole group, as a whole fraternity, Shriners by themselves have 22 hospitals in the U.S. and some in Canada and some in Mexico. I believe 1 in Germany and 1 in Philippines. Shriners alone, they do about $3 million a day in charity, besides the Scottish Rite with dyslexic centers and some other scholarship and other stuff that the different lodges and Grand Lodges do. So our connection grew very fast from the Grand Lodge of New Jersey, which we recently did the special fundraising for them to support the Coast Guard Memorial. So it's not just the Masonic charities that we look for, it's other stuff that involves any kind of the community involvements. So we did the 300th anniversary series, which last year, 2017, marked the 300th anniversary of the creation of the first Grand Lodge in England that united all the Grand Lodges that existed a few hundred years prior to that under one command. And the proceeds from that fundraising was for the Coast Guard Memorial in Cape May, New Jersey.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, so obviously, you're two business guys getting together. You wanted to produce this line of cigars. What has been your welcome from a non-Mason perspective? Because I could imagine from the Masons, they would totally embrace the brand, maybe even seek after the brand, maybe even like the idea that proceeds of the certain sticks go to the certain allotted organizations, correct? So like so a percentage of the Shriners line goes to the Shriners, percentage of your fellow craft line will go to different charities and stuff like that. So obviously the Masons, I mean, tight brotherhood, warm embrace, friends for life. I get that. What has been your reception outside of the Mason within the cigar industry? Because, and the reason why I ask is here in the Northeast, whenever it doesn't matter if it's Hiram Solomon or if it's any other brand, whenever a brand comes, the consumers always want to know more about the brand. And, you Hiram Solomon, here in the Northeast, my opinion, have quickly became known as those are the sought after Mason cigars. So what's it like outside of the Mason when you're trying to get into a regular retail store?
Actually, let's start with now. Right now, we have as many Masons as non-Masons who are smoking the cigar. In the beginning, we were a little surprised, but not surprised as well, because when people see the square and canvas, they recognize it's Masonic, and that brings their attention. They want to know the mystery, what's behind it. On the first time we went outside to sell our cigars, we were approached by non-Masons. They saw the square and canvas. They decided to know more about it, know about Masonry, and knowing about the cigar. They smoked the cigar. They loved it. But on that day, we ended with 2 applications from people to become Masons. That was a big surprise for us. That actually was a good news for us, because now we understood that we're not a cigar company anymore. We are ambassadors for Masons. And we brought that to the attention of our lodge, Grand Lodge, about that. They were impressed. They were happy with it. They gave us more support to our cause. So right now, we have a lot of people who smoke our cigars who have nothing to do with Masons. They smoke it for the quality of it, for the price of it, and some others smoke it because they know we involved in charity and in helping the community. But after all, at the end, people will smoke the cigar for the quality of the cigar and how much that quality is linked to the price of the cigar. And that's the main thing when people smoke the cigar. Yes, they may smoke it once for any other purpose, but at the end, cigar smokers looking for the quality of the cigar and for the price of the cigar. And I think we did great, especially after we moved to Nicaragua, started rolling at Plasencia. We get the quality with the price. Actually, we believe that our cigar is underpriced, but we're happy with that we can afford it for that, to sell it for that price and still in business and reach more people. Anything else?
It's actually take a couple minutes to talk about that. Your first go around with Hiram and Solomon, the prices came out and they were involved in a different factory, and then now you've moved the operations to the Plasencia factory over in Nicaragua, right? And you were able to come up with a better price point. Obviously, economies of scale will tell you that. From a business perspective, if they're producing a lot more cigars, cost of operation can go down. You two had to make a conscious decision to actually lower that price, because you could have kept it at the same, right? And just done it like that and tried to focus on that. So to the Stogie Geek listener who's either new to Hiram and Solomon, or to the Stogie Geek listener who knows of your brand recognition from the first go around, take us through where you are now, where you are with the price point, where you are with Plasencia, and what they can look forward to, especially with IPCPR coming up in a couple of months.
See, when we first started with the Dominican Republic, the idea was to sell directly on the website, and we were novice about pricing and how we had no clue about keystoning a cigar and stuff like this. So our cost from the Dominican Republic, I'll give it to you in one way, it was higher than what we sell at wholesale right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much we used to pay for that cigar. That's why that cigar was, when we first introduced it to the market, was at 17, 18, even $20 selling point in any cigar lounges. And the first season alone, we got about almost a little bit less than 700 calls from different cigar lounges where the Mason went and asked the brand, the place owner to bring the cigars in. When we send them the cigar with the price sheet on it, we were only able to do about 10% of that. And the one reason it's not, you don't have a good cigar, it's your price point were very high.
For sure.
And we cannot introduce a new cigar to the market. We may be able to sell it for Masons, but even for Masons themselves, it's not a go cigar every day for $18. How many people can afford that?
Sure.
$18 cigar on an everyday base. We learned our lesson from that, and we definitely moved to, when we went to Plasencia, the price point where it's supposed to be. Of course, we did much more. I mean, we went from 10,000 cigars to 200,000 cigars, and we were able to put it in the market right now, where most of our cigar sells between $9 and $10, which is it's not the cheapest, it's not the most expensive. It's right where it's supposed to be. We even believe, I mean, the cigar value is more than that. But at this moment, to introduce it to everyone and put it to become a household cigar like any other major brand, this is where we are right now, and this is where we continue to push forward on it. And as far as the IPCR questions, we will be introducing one or two different lines, which probably most likely will be a much bolder cigar. Which will involve either some Andreas wrapper or some Cameroon wrapper, and we should be able to do great with that cigar too for the market that we're not hitting. As far as the perspective of some non-Mason on the cigars, we get some of the people who are curious about the Masons. They are either or the haters. We got some haters too over there that. I get messages, the Masonic cigar, or the Satan, they call it the Satan cigar, or the,
sure.
the Satan cigar, or the bad people, or whatever. Some people even put stuff that nobody's supposed to smoke that cigar or touch it even. But that, for us, created controversy and help launching the cigar too, and help with the sales of the cigar. In cigar lounges, we believe most people who smoke the cigar, they're probably more right now non-Masons than Masons. And of course, that goes with the percentage, how many Masons smoke cigar compared to non-Masons at the cigar lounge. So we are being introduced to non-Masons, and that's the goal of introducing everyone. And as George mentioned before, that it's becoming a tool to bring in non-Mason or people who always wanted to be a Mason, did not know where to go. And so far, I have a number 66 people in 3 years were able to join their lodges because of our brand. And about 2 of our retailers from the 66, 12 were international applicants that they did not know what to do. So 66, it's a big number for 3 years. Some lodges alone cannot do that. So we are technically, as George mentioned, an ambassador for the Freemasons. At the same time, we were able to introduce a great cigar to the market at the same time too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and I want to take the time out. When you first came to the market, I've had the opportunity to try the Shriners when it was from the original factory, and then there was one more. It wasn't the Traveling Man? What was it? What was one of the original ones besides the Shriners?
The original one from outside the Plasencia was the Enter Apprentice Photograph at the Master Mason. Yep. Which we copied at the Plasencia and we improved on it by putting different kinds of tobaccos in it. The Shriner was our first test at the Plasencia, mm-hmm. which included 5 different countries and 6 regions: Ecuadorian, Sumatra, Indonesian, Arapiraca, Habano, Jalapa, Habano, Emotapi, and Dominican. So 6 regions in 5 countries in that cigar. That was our first run at the Plasencia. And it was a great success that along with the pricing, we moved everything to the Plasencia factory. And now everything is produced at the Plasencia factory with the help of David Blanco.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Joe, real
Yes.
quick, one thing that you guys haven't mentioned yet that I really enjoy is your blending process. So, what sets you guys aside, and Fouad, you and I have talked about this a couple of times, what sets you guys aside from other companies maybe in your blending process and your quality control process that makes Hiram and Solomon, in my opinion, one of the best draws and one of the best ashes in the industry?
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, actually, yeah, some people get impressed when we tell them that story, that when we blend, even at the factory, they told us, you don't have to smoke the whole cigar. Normally, people smoke the third of it or half of it maximum. We insisted to smoke the cigar to the end as far as we can reach. Because as a smoker, a lot of time I do smoke a great cigar, but on the second half or the third part, I don't feel the same taste. I don't feel the cigar is good as it started. Or sometimes in the beginning, cigar is flat.
Mm-hmm.
We smoke the cigar from the beginning to the end, and we want the taste to be in each part, in each buff of the cigar. And that's why we spend more time blending and more energy to smoke the whole cigar and to see, do we have to improve the last half, the last third? Do we have to improve it in the middle, in the top? We want our cigar to have complicity in the whole cigar, from the first puff till the last puff. And we don't like people to throw the last third of our cigar. We really want it to be smoked to the end. That's our purpose.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, I was going there. I was going there with a couple weeks ago when I had the opportunity to meet with you, George. You were traveling here in the Northeast, and I had the opportunity to meet Chris. And when I was reintroduced to this brand, I was told to go right for the Traveling Man. And so my experience, I tried the Traveling Man Toro, smoked that right down to the nub. I put a V-cut in it. I put a V-cut in this. Right now I'm doing the Shriners. And, I'm getting close, and I still got some more to go. And that was my first take was, wow, like they've really changed. I don't know if you changed the blend. I don't know if you changed the quality. That's all between you. But when I was reintroduced to the brand and the blends, like I said a couple weeks ago, I noticed the actual change there. And then I was speaking to Chris, we're over last week, and he said, check out some of the other blends that we have as well. Then I tried, what was the
Fellowcraft?
Yeah, it was the Fellowcraft. So I tried, again, I grabbed the Fellowcraft, I grabbed the Robusto, right? Because, I was like, all right, let me grab the Robusto. I had the Robusto, and I was like, whoa. And then Friday afternoon, I ended up grabbing the Fellowcraft Toro, and I was like really impressed with that, right? I grabbed the Shriners from my collection. I didn't get to it yet. And then when Chris came here today, a couple hours right before the show, we had the time to sit down, and I'm still smoking the Shriners, and they're all different. They're all different, but from a palate perspective, they all linger on the palate. Like they really, really linger on the palate. I noticed that even Friday when I left the cigar shop and I had a 40-minute drive home before I got ready to go to my Friday event. Like I was like I still have that taste on my palate. Which if you've had a first go around of Hiram and Solomon, you owe it to yourself now to rekindle yourself with the brand. Not only will you be amazed with the price point when it's in your local store, but what you've done with the actual blends, they're so different, because I was like, oh, I really like the Traveling Man. Then I tried the Fellowcraft. I'm like, oh, I really like the Toro. And now I'm on the Shriners. I still like the Fellowcraft, sure, but the Shriners does have a lot to offer.
Well, and
as well.
The awesome thing about these guys and this brand in particular is the passion that these two have for the cigar. And that passion translates into my sales every day. And I don't call it sales. I call it spreading joy. Because what we're really doing is we're spreading a love for the cigar. And when you take two guys like Fouad and George who have a deep passion for cigars, it really translates into their product. And so when you smoke their line, starting with the Entered Apprentice, we call it the breakfast smoke. You can catch a video on Facebook of Fouad and George having their breakfast smoke at the lounge in New Jersey. It's pretty entertaining. But you start with the Entered Apprentice in the morning with your cup of coffee. Personally, I smoke the Traveling Man throughout the day. There's really not a cigar in this line that's going to leave you saying, I can't smoke another cigar.
For sure.
And that's the beauty of it, is these are blended so well. I have a picture on my Facebook, Hiram Solomon of New England, of an event the other night with a guy that had an ash literally a quarter of an inch from the nub of the cigar. And it was the entire cigar. And that's a great picture. It's a great testament to what these guys have done with their passion. And absolutely, Joe, you're absolutely right. If you've had the original blend, you do owe it to yourself to try the new blend in one of the local shops.
Now, you were recently awarded, I believe it was a 92 or 94, or was it a 92 and a 94?
I mean, two of our cigars were awarded 94, the Master Mason and the Traveling Man.
Okay.
And the Shriner that you're smoking were awarded 91, and they called it the Holy Grail of cigars. That's a Masonic term, maybe, or a religious term, but we like it. The Connecticut and was awarded 92, and was called the Connecticut Miracle because we believe we did add some kick to it by adding some Paraguayan and Pennsylvania Dutch to it, which gives it a little kick to prepare you to the next level, which the way we look at it, as the Enter Apprentice degree prepare you for the next degree in the Masons, the Fellowcraft, we wanted those cigars to prepare you for the next level. So if you started with our mild cigar, we didn't just want it to be mild, we wanted mild with a kick to prepare you for your next medium cigar. And as Chris mentioned before, there was a lot of work that done after the original blend. Each one of the blends, the original blends that we took to Plasencia, there were minimum between 26 to 32 different blends tested on each one of the cigars before we came up with the final blend for each one of them. And we made sure that everything goes on to double fermentation, which is a reason that you will not feel that aftertaste, that bad aftertaste after you smoke cigar. There's some cigar in the market, including, unfortunately, some major brand, that when you smoke the cigar, you have that aftertaste that you need to wash it with either coffee or a drink or something. I challenge every smoker in the market that they smoke one of our cigars. If there's any aftertaste after that, I challenge them to say something about it. The construction, we have a guy who sits at the company that watches the construction of every cigar. We asked Plasencia to put each cigar in the test blend, in a draw test. Each cigar, not just a few of 100, 5, 4, 5. Each cigar goes into a draw test. So far, again, from all the cigars that we sold, maybe we have a handful of cigars that did not draw right, and that's expected from hand-rolled cigars. The other aspect of that, I'm a strong believer of a boutique cigars that reflects the quality and the personality of the owners of that brand and what they want from it, versus a major brand that it's there for a big production, no matter what it is. We know what we want from the cigars. We know what we like to put in the market, and that's what we're bringing it to reflect the personality, to reflect what's that cigar need to be done. If you notice one thing, all our cigars, Enter Apprentice, Fellowcraft, Master Mason, Shriner, Veil Prophet, the Traveling Man, they are people, they are events. Each cigar represents an event, each cigar represents a personality or a degree. It's not a number, it's not 1965, or it's not a flying horse or whatever it is. It is a personality. It's an event that brings you back to that specific moment. To Masons, and for non-Masons, it's something for them to to reflect on later on. A lot of people, I believe, a lot of people went on the website checking what's the Enter Apprentice, so it reflects on the stuff. And I don't mean to offend any of the major brand by calling a flying horse. That's why I called it a flying horse, not flying anything else, or 1956. It is just the way we look at the cigar. It's an event, it's a personality, it's a memory. We believe every cigar has a memory that comes with it. And that's what we wanted to continue. We did not invent cigars, but we will definitely perfect that cigar smoking experience.
Absolutely. Now you have an event coming up here in the Northeast. Are both of you guys going to be present at that event?
Unfortunately, I cannot have another event in Michigan at the same time.
George, you're coming, right?
If you promise you come.
Yeah. Take us to when the event is.
Sure. So we have an event Thursday, this Thursday actually, the 29th, at White Ash Cigar Lounge in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, just around the corner from the Paw Sox Stadium. Beautiful lounge, beautiful people. Natalie is awesome over there. She takes care of her customers very, very well. We just, as a matter of fact, switched the brand there. They had our old stuff in there. And we put the new stuff in that has arrived, that is available now. It's been put on the shelf as of today. So if you get a chance, stop in there, tell Natalie I sent you, and I'll be over there later this afternoon. But yeah, it's going to be a big event. We're hoping for a good turnout. We're going to run some specials, some raffles, and there'll be some good food there as well. So definitely come on out for that. That goes from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay.
Is what time that event runs. And it's one of our favorite lounges to visit. Very laid back, very relaxed, great furniture to sit on, very comfortable. I find myself almost taking a nap there sometimes. So it's very, very nice place.
Good. Nice. Is there anything you guys would change so far? You've been in the industry for you're starting your 4th year. What type of lessons have you learned to enter in this crazy industry, having done other stuff business-wise, non-industry? Is there anything that you would have changed, or is there anything that you wish you would have known before?
It's a learning process. We learn every day.
Oh, sure.
And one thing that we keep on pushing forward, George always mentions that too. He actually came up with that. We respect our competition. If we don't respect our competition, we will not be where we need to be. So by respecting all the competition in the market, we will be top producer of cigars, of quality cigars. I'm not going to be, we're not definitely producing cigars that they're not going to be worthy of wasting your 1 hour of your time sitting and smoking it.
I agree.
But we learn every day. Every day it's a new learning experience for us. If we need to, as at top of my head right now, if we need, we learn, probably we'll change some of the sizes, bring in different sizes, and that's what we're learning at this moment, and different the blend that cater to different smokers in the market.
So obviously you're here to stay. You're happy with the factory as to where you are now, and you're looking to grow the business.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, Fouad, hopefully someday I'll be able to connect with you and shake your hand. Maybe, have a cigar with you for sure.
Will be my honor, and we would like to thank Stogie Geeks for this opportunity to introduce our cigars to people who they may not heard of us, or they may not try it. Maybe that will push them to go and pick up a cigar and smoke it. And usually at my event, I challenge every customer that, again, I'm a guy who challenge people. I challenge every guy who does not want to try our cigar, that I will offer him a cigar. If he doesn't like it, I will buy him anything from that humidor, and I don't care what the price is. So far, nobody took me up to it, but I'm sure one day somebody will tell me I want $100 Davidoff sitting on that shelf.
Yeah, maybe, but you never know. It depends on which part of the country you're in. I guess. For sure.
One other thing to mention for these guys, Fouad's always looking for the next best step to forward the company and to service our clientele better. So we were talking a little while ago and we were talking about the way they kind of do events overseas. And as we branch out, we didn't get a chance to touch on it, but as we branch out into international markets, we were looking at different ways to do events to set us apart from the industry. So on April 4th, we'll be launching our pilot event at Castro's Back Room in Keene, New Hampshire, also known as The Station, where we will do a $30 gets you 4 cigars, basically, and there'll be a social hour from 6 to 7 p.m. At 7 p.m., we'll sit down with, I believe it's George that's going to be there. We'll sit down and we will talk about the blend, what they're tasting, and introduce them to the world of cigars that they've never seen before. Similar to a blending seminar, but this will be on a wider spectrum to introduce to the whole entire line, not just to one specific cigar or one specific wrapper. So we're going to try this out, see how it goes. So April 4th at the station, 6 p.m. in Keene, New Hampshire, will be a piloting event for Hiram and Solomon, and we're hoping that it's going to go well. So it's also a fundraiser as well for a Shriner-style event for the local lodge there.
Awesome.
So
that's awesome.
I mean, the difference with that event, what we try to accomplish is everybody at that on that event, 30, 25, for whomever is going to be there, they all smoke the same cigar at the same time. So we all start, let's say, with the Enter Apprentice. We'll talk about the Enter Apprentice. We'll discuss it. We hear their opinion about the cigar, their honest opinion. Nothing hurts our feeling actually anymore, because all it does is to make us improve what we have so far. And from there, will be a little bit of break. Then we move to the second cigar. Then we move to the third cigar. This is something done in Europe, and I've noticed it in many different places. And we're going to see if that's going to work around here, not just coming to here's a cigar and go smoke it inside.
Is this going to be your first IPCPR?
No, this is we've been in IPCR from our first year. This will be our fourth. So we went there the first year not knowing what to expect, we had no clue. I mean, there was the total new experience for us.
Sure.
And we're improving. We did great last year. We did better than some medium sized companies. And there were a lot of retailers that came and they were seeking us ready with the orders. And we did, for the first year last year, after IPCPR, we got a lot of calls from retailers that we gave them sample, which we thought we would never hear from them, but we did. So far in the U.S., we're over 220 cigar lounges, and we're growing about 4 to 6 lounges a week now. We're in 17 countries, 4 different continents.
Nice, nice. Well, Fouad and George, I want to thank you for your time. Chris is going to stick around for the next segment. We're going to talk about Stogies of the Week and some other stuff, but I want to thank you two gentlemen for your time. Thank you very much for coming on the Stogie Geeks show.
Thank you for you guys.
Yes, thank you. Coming up,
thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Coming up, we have the Stogies of the Week. I'm going to chat with Chris about some stuff cigar related. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.